at some point in your life, you're going to have to give a critique to someone else. And so we're going to talk about how to give a good critique.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The
And
first thing I would say, wait to be asked. don't don't just offer
that
one.
is a key. That is very important. Like you said, they're not going to run up on the street and try to critique your work.
I saw your work and I
However,
want to tell you about it.
however, if you put your work out there, sometimes there are a lot of people who are like happy to run up there and tell you, what they think about it.
And that's part of it. That is part. If you're keeping it inside and you're okay, so let's wrap this whole I have this whole thought in my head, so that's why I'm taking a breath before I say this. If you want to make it in this industry, you got to put your work out there. No one
Yeah.
is going to knock on your door and go, "Hey, I heard that you're an illustrator and I would like to see your work so that I can
Yeah.
give you work." It's not going to happen. You have
Yeah.
to put your work out there. But
Mm.
when you put your work out there, you're going to find people that are more than willing to give you critique before you ask for it. And
Yeah.
whatever, take it as it is.
Mhm.
Maybe there's good information in there. Remember, these people are reading your story or your book or your illustration without any feedback from you as to what you intended it to be.
Yeah.
And it's always good because then you're like, okay, well, this is how the world is seeing it. Whether I intended or
True.
not, this is how the world is seeing it.
Yeah. Because we
Um,
usually have rose colored glasses on, and yeah,
we
we're
do.
definitely not seeing it the same way as everyone else.
Yeah. But if you were going to give a critique to someone else, this is how you would do it.
I mentioned earlier, that you use the sandwich method. It's you start with something nice about the piece or the story, and then you give the negative, but in a nice way, and then you end with something nice
Yeah.
because it's easier to eat a sandwich if it has two good things in it
And
between
the
the bad
and
things.
and the spinach is in the middle.
Yeah.
At least,
Yeah. You
well,
don't
I
want to put the
like
spinach
spinach.
on the outside. I like spinach.
I like spinach, but my son doesn't. So I would be like, squeeze it
You
in
hide it
there
in
between
there.
the cheese and all the good stuff he likes.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. My kids like bread. So the bread's on the outside, spinach and bologna are on the inside. Well, that's
So,
what a weird sandwich.
and there's always something good. There's always something good. Look at it and go,
True.
okay, the overall composition is working. Maybe the
Hmm.
composition is working. Maybe if the composition is a problem, well, then let's see, is the color okay? Do you like the vibrancy of these colors? Do you like the contrast? Do you like the character design?
Do you like the subject
Um,
matter?
yeah, whatever it is,
Something.
how they illustrate it, their line work,
Hmm.
there's always something, and there's so many elements to an illustration, and we keep saying illustration, but since
It's
we
also
write as
stories.
well, also to the story, yeah, there's
Hmm.
also some good things within the story before you critique. And just go like, this is and there is no this is wrong, this is right, because nothing is black and white in the world. Everything
Yeah.
is, has a shade of gray in it. So kind of go like, well, it might be better with this going on here, or it might
Yeah.
read better if it's like that.
But if you
um
just say it in a blah, like if you just like in a direct way and you don't make it nice and happy and wrapped in a good nice sweet package, it hurts more.
yeah,
It's very
and
destructive, I think.
then it's not going to be absorbed. That person is not going to
Right.
be able to get to what you're trying to say,
Mm-hmm. They
with it.
won't.
And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to help that person
Yeah.
improve in
It's
whatever.
it's
Yeah.
all in love. It's in love.
So let's see. Now, if we're already in a close knit, for example, when you and I are going to talk about each other's work, we don't bother
Yeah.
with this anymore
Don't
because we
sugarcoat
always,
it.
yeah, when we
Or
critique
we
each
don't
other's work,
ask.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah, and this, if it's something that, for example, if I know you're working on something, I sometimes don't wait until you ask, but I go, hey, do you want critique? Because if I see something, if I see something and I know you're turning it in, I was like, do you want a little bit of something there? And it will
Yes,
be,
fine.
and then you're like, oh, fine. What is it?
Yes. Yeah. And sometimes I avoid you because I don't
I
want to
know.
like
Then you're like, I don't want to redraw this, so I'm not going to show it to her until after I have submitted it. And then you'll be like, then you say, I already
Oh,
submitted. I'm like,
well, too
okay,
bad.
it's okay.
The author's happy with it. Sorry. No,
And
but there.
yes, and when you're working with your clients, they are the ones that have to like it at the end. So
Yes,
yeah,
that's what's difficult.
it's usually if it's
Or
something
with
that
or with an editor or art director, they're the
the
ones
same thing.
who are
Yes.
approving it.
Yeah. So, but if in a close knit, and if it's a matter of urgency that you're like, oh, we're working on this really fast, you can kind of
Mhm.
bypass this and just go like, hey, this will work better, or hey, I found a tangent here, or whatever you want to say about this.
So many tangents. Olga's the tangent police. But yeah, but you also need to consider what art style the other person who's giving you the feedback has, like
Yes.
what they work in. If they don't typically work in your style, their critique may be a little different.
It is, yeah. If some people don't put shadows and they don't want to do any of that, and if you are very heavy on shadows, you're going to be like, wait, a shadow's missing. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
it
So you
doesn't
needed to
have
be
to
considerate
look.
of that.
It doesn't have to look like your work. That's not what you're trying to do. What you're trying to do is how can, knowing the intention that you're trying to do, I can go like, well, it's not reading like you intended it to be. So if you're trying to get these two kids to look like they are happy walking into the distance, but it's looking like they are just static and in motion, then it's not reading correctly. Then you can go ahead and help with that.